You're welcome back. This is still TV3 New Day. It's time now for the newspaper review. And as usual, let's take a look at the headlines. And we'll start off with a daily guide. We have Atuesian and Co. Who are saying that the state has no case. And this is with regards to the banking sector cleanup and all the issues arising. We're still awaiting to see what's going to happen to the people who are accused of running down certain banks and being the reason why some of the banks were, dissolved or declared insolvent. Now, also, the Ghana Airports Company Limited gets 1.157 million in royalties from Frontiers Healthcare Limited. And yesterday in Parliament, we saw how the breakdown was given and, of course, how much Frontiers Healthcare Limited has made so far as against, between September and December 2020, when the airports were open officially, for flights and for human traffic, after it had been shut for many months due to COVID. And so the question is, what kind of agreement was reached where Ghana Airport Company Limited was making only 10% of every payment of $150 of every person who traveled in and out of the country? And that's why we're being told that we made 1.157 million in royalties. Till date, we still do not have the details of the procurement processes that led to Frontiers Healthcare Limited, being the company that was chosen to run this particular test at the airport. You remember that during the vetting of the ministers, from the health minister to the attorney general to the foreign affairs ministers, all of them could not exactly give details as to how Frontiers Healthcare Limited won that contract or, managed to get this deal, even when there had been calls for Noguchi to run the tests at the airport. We'll have that conversation later on the show. And Bank of Ghana bounces Dufour and Amoabeng. They have released a statement where they're saying that per the banking law, they are not, supposed to report to Parliament to give them details of how they act, because per the Constitution, they are not answerable to Parliament. If there's time, we'll touch on that. Can DAPA others miss out on cabinet? And yes, the president yesterday put out the list of his cabinet ministers. And it's interesting that Mr. Kandapa, Honorable Kandapa, is not there. But at least we have the other ministers in there as well. We have Interior Ministry and the Defense Ministry being represented on the list of cabinet ministers for the president. And so yesterday there was a conversation and, we got the indication that once we have both of them on there, there's really no need for Mr. Kandapa to be there, because at least issues of security will duly be addressed. And there'll be times when, some of these ministers will go out there to break down what exactly it is their job has been like to the cabinet ministers. And so it doesn't mean that he's not necessarily part of the cabinet. But Green Ghana project takes off today, and 5 million trees are expected to be planted today. We're looking forward to the president, the vice president, the speaker, and of course, Otumfuo Setutu II, His Majesty Yana, and many other leaders take the initiative, the first initiative, to plant the trees. Let's move on now to ABC News on the side of truth. And it says, Ghana goes green today. A photo of Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo. He is the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. And we'll talk about that surely later. Biden, U.S. to purchase 500 million vaccine doses for lower income countries. And people are already saying that, let's just stop fighting over how Sputnik V was procured, especially if government insists that we have not paid any monies. Maybe we should find a way to lobby the U.S. government to send some of these vaccines to us. But there's also another audio where the finance minister is said to have admitted making payments to this company belonging to Sheikh Maktoum for some consignment of the Sputnik V vaccine. We'll play that as well. Inflation rate drops further to 7.5% in May, lowest in over a year. Moving on to the Ghanaian Times, and it says, planting for food and jobs. Mofa targets 1.5 million farmers across 260 districts nationwide. President Akufo-Addo names 19-member cabinet. 15 of them remained. The rest, a few changes here and there. COVID-19 test at KIA. Ghana Airport Company Limited receives 10%, $10 from $150 per person charge. COVID-19 vaccine, government's negotiated price downward from $25 to $19 per dose, according to the Ministry of Health in its statement. And now to the Catholic Standard. Catholic bishops commit to planting 1 million trees. Africa needs peace, says Pope Francis, regarding the killing of over 130 people in Burkina Faso by jihadists. And lives of some Catholics remain embarrassing. Catholic priests lament. Let's move on to the next one. And this is the Daily Graphic. It says, stamp out Galamsey. Chief Justice warns of stiffer punishment. Anglo Gold Ashanti insists on political will. Passion for tree planting shoots figure to 10 million, and government receives 1.16 million from airports COVID-19 tests. Graphic 3 others benefit from SIGA capacity. The Finder, and on there we have the Minister of Health, and it says Ghana was unable to obtain direct supplies from Russia. Testing for COVID-19 at KIA yields more than $17.3 million, according to the Transport Minister, Honorable Kweku Ofori-Esiama. And Parliament takes day off to engage in Green Ghana. Ghana plants 5 million trees today. 8.2 million hectares of forest reduced to 1.6 million. To avert negative effects of climate change, we are planting trees. 3 females in President Akufo-Addo's 19-member cabinet, and that includes the Fisheries Minister. And you remember that she was still part of the cabinet ministers, even though she was not the head of the Fisheries Ministry. Then she was the head of the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives. But yes, it clearly shows that she is one of the president's closest allies, and that's why she's still on there. But government earns 1.16 million royalties from airport COVID tests. That's according to the Business and Financial Times. All is set for Green Ghana Day today. PURC Energy Commission to emerge, and local rice and local rice farmers seek foreign support to stay in business as government banks remain apathetic towards the sector. Joining me in the studios this morning, and of course, I would like to say congratulations to the NDC for their 29th anniversary celebrations. Yesterday was held. It was beautiful, by the way. But yes, I have in the studios with me Malik Basintali. He is the Savannah Regional Communications Director of the NDC. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I'm proud this morning. I was part and parcel of the celebration yesterday at the headquarters. And not just, the fact that we are celebrating our 29th anniversary, but I'm proud that as a young man of the Republic, I happen to belong to a very young party, but with very significant, tangible, projectual, achievements so far as the Republic of Ghana is concerned. I'm proud that I belong to a party that when it comes to the educational sector, we have performed extensively well. When it comes to the health sector, we've built numerous visible, tangible hospitals people can see today. When it comes to the road sector, we've constructed tangible, visible roads and very durable ones that to date we are using. When it comes to the market sector, we've constructed markets. And it simply tells that, yes, we have regarded, to the best of my knowledge, the formation and foundations of the NDC as a party. You remember, back in the days, how women, Makola women, how carpenters, whatever, were brought together just to form the party through a revolution. And so I think that, yes, I'm proud that we have performed significantly well. We are still aspire to do more, but till date, we are far better off than a party that, moved from tradition to tradition, metamorphosed from different segments, and till date, they cannot boast of, very tangible things like the NDC, as young as it is, can do. So I'm proud that, as young as I am, I belong to such a party. Again, I feel proud that, yes, our traditions continue to stand tall, even so far as the 1992 Constitution is concerned. Probity, accountability, and all that are things that are upheld, not only in this country, but internationally. I remember when the Democratic Forum, consistently have these annual delegations and what have you. All things that are being discussed, clearly, the world is gradually moving towards a socialist point of view. In fact, parties that had capitalist traditions today are dipping their fingers into the socialist tradition and gradually buying into it.
Not a bad thing, is it?
And absolutely.
Exactly.
And so I feel proud that we keep setting the pace, we keep making some very tangible strides, and other parties will just have to conform and learn from us.
Recently there were concerns about the party imploding. Maybe later we'll talk about that.
The party
imploding because of differences amongst party members and executives as well. But anyway, we'll move away from that. Ghana is going green today. And like we mentioned, about 10 million people have already confirmed that they are going to actively participate in the planting of trees. 5 million of them. And this, the Green Ghana initiative, it was introduced by the government. Let's take a look at the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and what he has to say about this. And then you'll meet my second guest. Or you know what, maybe we'll talk about that a little later. But yesterday, Johnny Hughes got a hold of the audio where the finance minister is purported to have made a confirmation that in actual fact they paid, or government paid, for the Sputnik V vaccines, at least some parts of it. And the credit goes to the journalist Marcus Tobiasen of the Norwegian news outlet VG, who first put out this story about the Sputnik V procurement issues. Take a look.
Is 3FM.
Our article mainly deals with how third parties or intermediaries are now selling vaccines at a high markup to countries in Africa, in Asia and South America that are struggling to meet their demands through other means. One of the deals we are writing about is, of course, the deal that Ghana did with Sheikh Ahmed Al Maktoum and Avrogulf, in which I was told that Ghana is paying $19 per dose for the Sputnik vaccine, which is quite a lot more than what the Russians are selling it for directly, which is $10 per dose. Do you reckon that Ghana has paid or what's your comment on the price that Ghana has paid?
Yeah, Marcus, we had a period in which we had gotten close to 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines, which had been sort of well administered and deployed, and had very little left. And then we had the second doses coming up. So we were really forced to look at, how to get some new doses into the system, and I think we agreed to 300,000 transaction in terms of Sputnik vaccines, which we did, and I think the Ministry of Health is looking at maybe another 1 million vaccines, but really that
this
one
is 3FM.
That we don't get the AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer in the interim period.
Just to have the numbers correctly there, because in April the health ministry sent out a press release saying they would buy 3.4 million vaccines from Al Maktoum. And I think you said 1.3 now, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, what I have is 300,000 vaccines, Sputnik, that we have paid for, and then what I am reading in my agreement is to almost
this
have like a standby possibility of another 1 million.
Right.
But my expectation from here is that if we are successful with sharing that the U.S. is going to do, etc., and also we signed up on the Africa platform for 12 million doses of J&J, we will not need to do that.
Yeah, so it's a backup plan, that next 1 million.
It really is.
And that means that, as you're saying, you've so far only paid for 300,000 Sputnik vaccines through the Sheikh in Dubai, correct?
That's very correct.
But those are paid at a price of $19 per dose.
Right. We set up an LC to do that.
And sorry?
I think that's about it.
Yeah. But would you comment on the fact that the price was almost double of what the Russians normally charge if they sell directly?
This is 3FM.
Very interesting, and that is the Finance Minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, in a conversation with the journalist who worked on this report. He's Marcus Tobiasen of the Norwegian news outlet. It is an investigative news agency, and of course, they put this out a few days ago, indicating that Ghana, first of all, was using middlemen and was paying almost double the price. Now, government officials came out and denied having paid any amount at all. In fact, yesterday on this show, on Newspaper Review, we saw how Ms. Kamal Dean, also a member of the NPP communications team, also insisted that they had not paid. The chairman of the Health Committee in Parliament, Dr. Yao Ofriye, also indicated that no amount had been paid. In actual fact, they were even engaging as many as 7 other companies, to also deliver the Sputnik V. But then, of course, they went with the company that belongs to the Sheikh from Dubai. Joining us this morning as well from the NPP is Mr. George Ayisi. He is the Director of Communications at NADMO. Good morning.
Yeah, good
How
morning,
are you?
Bella. I'm good.
Yeah?
How are you too?
You don't look too happy this morning. Everything okay?
Oh, it's good.
Okay, but let's talk about what we've just listened to, because
Yeah.
this is very contradictory. I mean, we're hearing government officials saying we did not pay any amount at all. In actual fact, we are even at the liberty of pulling out from the deal because they have not delivered. And if they continue to not deliver the vaccines, we can pull out. But this is the finance minister confirming to this journalist that we have actually paid for 300,000 doses of the vaccine. Which is which?
Yeah, thank you, Bella. Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleague. And good morning to our viewers. Before I proceed, let me congratulate the NDC on their 29th anniversary. And I heard my brother say in certain things, it's a supposed social democratic party that is veering away from social democratic policies and co, to the point that they had to boycott Parliament when the bill for national health insurance was being passed, so-called Social Democratic Party. And they have problems with implementation of free SHS. You get it? So that's how good their social democratic tendencies are. Now let's come to the issue of the Sputnik V vaccines. Yes, the government of Ghana made the efforts at almost all levels, government to government level, with the Russian government, because we engaged the Prime Minister of Russia and other CEOs that are engaged in this chain. And we had the assurance that we're going to get the vaccines supplied to us. We engaged all of, it got to a point, the whole world, we're all going for these AstraZeneca, this thing, and then the supply, demand-supply dichotomy. And so it became a bit challenging. So then we decided to go into the open market to see if we can get somebody to help us get these vaccines.
Did you decide to go, or they approached you? Because per the Ministry of Health statement, they approached. And
good.
Because
so, no, we've engaged government to government level. So then if somebody from the open market approach you, it means you've decided to then engage them. And so once we engaged, we saw that there was light at the end of the tunnel, that we're going to get the supply as we saw. And so we put in a request for about 1.3 million, as the finance minister rightly said.
And not the 3.4?
No, initially we needed 3.4. That was at the government to government level and all that. And so when we saw this open market issue, we decided to start from there. And then ultimately 300,000 was what was agreed to be supplied. And then with the notion that by the end of June, we'll get, the additional 1 million, and then we take it there from. And so, if people, I also heard the chairman for the Health Committee in Parliament, Dr. Ayew, saying what he said, and they engaged. And the truth is that we used the procurement process, okay? And so there were other competitors who were interested in supplying. And ultimately, we got these, we saw they have the capacity to get us the vaccines. Yes, it's true. At the government to government level with the Russian government, you were going to get it at $10, as the reporter said. But once there's an intermediary, okay, definitely you're not going to get it at that price. But again, as to the processes that the magnates, the Magduts people were saying, when it goes through these processes, price then begin to go up until we got it at that $19. It's almost double too. And so then we had to the exigency of the need for the vaccine to be in Ghana, so the Ghanaians will also, because we are taking the first dose. And initially we were told after a certain period, you need to take the second dose.
Okay.
So then you begin to appreciate the pressure on government, and the health ministry. Otherwise, some had initially made the argument that if you don't take it at the stipulated time, it makes nonsense of the first dose. You get it? And so if you're confronted with some of these things, you begin to take exigent measures, and desperate times demand desperate measures, maybe. Okay. So that's how come we decided, let's get these people to bring the 300,000 and then we'll take it. So yes, I'm happy the finance minister is admitted that indeed we've made commitment and then we've paid for the first 300,000.
But why were the executives also saying that we had not paid for it?
Well,
and that's where the concern is.
Maybe, let's be honest, maybe they were not apprised of the details as of the time. Maybe,
but how do you come out and vehemently deny having paid?
Sometimes,
when you have not checked your facts?
Sometimes supplies are made and payments are made later. You know that. And so once the product is in town, then either you've made a commitment or by making payments, or there's an agreement that once it comes, you're going to pay. So maybe the MP and the others who spoke about it are aware that
this is the chairman of the health committee in Parliament.
Yes, that's a bit
He
worrying.
should know.
Maybe,
and so if he comes out and says we have not paid for it, if this audio had not come out, would we have heard anybody else say that, well, we paid for it?
The chairman made his press this thing about 3 or so days ago, right? I think Monday or thereabouts. Monday, Tuesday, thereabouts. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the minister also didn't say when the payment was made. Okay, so maybe as of the time he was having his press soiree, the payment had not been made. I'm just making a gesture on that. I'm not stating fact. And so, and it will be worried. I agree with you that the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health will not be aware that payments have been made. Okay, and so we need to know when the minister made the payment, or the government of Ghana made the payment for the 300,000 between the time the press conference was held by the health chairman and then the interview with the minister. Then we get to know that maybe indeed as of the time he was making the conference, payment had not been made. Or if it is
this interview was actually about a month ago.
This interview?
Yes, per what the journalist says.
Oh, okay.
And the committee chairman spoke just this week, but this interview was about a month ago.
Yes. Oh, okay. If it's a month ago, then it's unfortunate that Parliament Select Committee on Health was not briefed on the procedure and the payments made.
That's very worrying. But then we also got hold of a letter, that was sent from the Ministry of Health to the Ministry of Finance that was asking for some payment to be made, $13 million US.
Thank you.
And it was to enable the Minister of Health to pay for the supply of 1 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, being the first batch. And it said that this payment was going to be made to establish irrevocable, it says here, let me read it well. So you are hereby kindly requested to arrange with the Bank of Ghana to establish irrevocable letters of credit. Okay. Irrevocable. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So let's just say that this letter is in reference to the Sputnik V, vaccines that we were trying to procure.
I read somewhere 5 something million had been paid. The cost of the ones that were brought, yes, you enter agreement because for guarantee purposes, okay, if this business, especially the middlemen, they want to be sure that you commit. Once you commit, when they bring it, you don't backtrack and say, I don't need it again because I've gotten a cheaper one from elsewhere. You get it? And so that's how come they enter into such irrevocable agreements.
But what was paid was part of the 5 million. Doses.
Yes.
Okay.
No, now yes, the 300,000 that came.
Okay. Yeah. But the price here says what? 13 million.
Okay, but no,
13 million US dollars, I mean. No, I'm just checking the price here.
Okay.
13 million US dollars. Yeah. And if we're being told that, directly from the country, it's $10.
Yes, $10
per dose. But then we're getting 13 million for what? 1 million doses. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that means that it's about what? Well, are we talking $19 now? Because if we're looking at this, then it presupposes that one is going for about $13.
Oh no, but I was saying this is here. Let's look at permit me to read this for you. As the points are going, the unit price was negotiated at a meeting held at Ministry of Health with representatives from Ministry of Health and Office of Darmouk Al Maktoum, who had traveled to Accra for the purpose. The Ministry of Health, after ascertaining the type of nature of the vaccine through the delivery of 15,000 doses, placed an order, for the supply of 300,000 doses of the vaccine at a cost of 5.7 million. Okay? At a cost of 5.7 million. So I don't know where the 13 million. And the minister accepted, admitted that 300,000 doses is what is paid for. Yes. Okay. So if you then assume that 300,000, 13 million was paid, I don't know where it's come. But this is a release by the Ministry of Health. You have
not seen this statement?
No, I haven't.
You have not come across it?
No, but I've seen the Ministry of Health release. And then they pointed about 10 or 11 points, that they've stated for as the reason for getting the drugs, the vaccines through the open markets and the middle.
Let me bring Malik in, because I mean, I don't know what you make of the contradictory statements that have been made. The finance minister saying one thing, that we have paid for 300,000 doses, and then the chairman of the health committee says we have not made any payments. We've actually even heard from other communicators who said we did not pay any money at all, and we can pull out at any time if they don't deliver.
So clearly, there's a problem. And clearly, something is not adding up. So far as the purchase of this Sputnik V vaccine is concerned, something is not adding up. There's a problem. And you see, Bella, anywhere there is an act of create, loot, and share, there will definitely be inconsistencies in the stories that are being delivered by the actors involved. There would be. And that is how come the court arrives at, finding people guilty. There's a problem. And so with this, I think that outrightly, the Ghanaian people are judging per minute. First of all, they told us that the price, the ex-factory price was $10. If you go on the Sputnik V vaccine page, it's $9.9.
But if you round it up, that's 10.
No, but you see, in buying items at a huge quantity, every cent counts. And so you may find it you round it up, yes, but these are detailed analysis we sought to do. This is government of Ghana's money. This is the taxpayers' money. Every peso must be accounted for. And so we don't round monies up just like that. You can't tally monies and say we round this up, and so we've arrived at 10, and let's use it in our calculation. It's not your money. It's the taxpayers' money. You need to account per peso. And so that was even false. Secondly, they told us, they had gone through a sheikh, and the sheikh probably had ballooned the price and what have you. Who is this sheikh? How was the sheikh, gotten? How did he get involved in this whole activity? What is the relationship of the sheikh to President Akufo-Addo? What is the relationship of the sheikh?
But this same sheikh is the one involved in the Mary deal. So if we ask what is his relationship with President Akufo-Addo, should we ask him that what is his relationship with the previous government?
Even in the Mary deal, there was a renegotiation at some point in time.
Remember? No, but then if you're asking about relationship,
so I want to know his
what is the relationship with the NDC
these are
as
questions.
well?
These are open questions I'm asking. What's his relationship with Akufo-Addo in this matter? Why will the price have to move from dollars to $19? Almost twice the price. Look, if you look at the Saudi regime, anybody who knows how Saudi Arabia or Dubai or whatever transacts business, in fact, they run at close to a 0% profit. And that is why most Saudi banks even give loans without interest. They are interest-free loans. That is how the system works. And so why? What has changed? What happened in this particular deal? Now, critically, why is it that the finance minister, had admitted that payments had been made only for the chairman of a committee, a health committee, yes, an MPP chairman, definitely, to say that no money, not even a peso, has been paid in this regard? Why? What are you covering?
But that's what he's saying, that he may not have been privy to that information at the time he spoke.
We are not speaking of probably Malik Basintali having a press conference. This is the chairman of the committee. Remember, this is an international agreement and should have gone through parliamentary approval. It means there's a problem. And that is why the ranking member, Mr. Akando, stated emphatically that in fact the minority were not allowed to interrogate this particular deal. Yes, the majority, the MPP, said yes, they had previewed. The committee had gone through documents pertaining to this agreement and what have you. Only for you to come and tell us no payments were made. It means there's a problem. And you see, Bella, we are not speaking of just probably $1 or $2. 9 whooping dollars multiplied by the amount of Sputnik V vaccines procured. And you understand the amounts of money we are speaking about. Look, clearly, COVID-19, I have said and repeatedly said that it only came to help President Akufo-Addo. Why? In procuring items, in PPEs and what have you, okay, and distributing them to various communities and health centers. Jack Ma Foundation, you remember, donated a large amount of them to us. President Mahama, you remember, donated. In fact, all opposition leaders, Media General, other institutions, what have you, came together to donate amounts of money. President Akufo-Addo, during the COVID-19 period alone, accrued more than 16 million Ghana cedis. 16 billion. I beg your pardon. 16 billion Ghana cedis from institutions. People who donated, government institutions, what have you. Till date, because we are being told that the water they gave us, we are going to pay for it. We are being told that the electricity that was given, we are going to pay for it. Till date, the amounts of monies spent, because we are being told that the account is red. That means that over the 16 billion that was donated to the government of the day has been utilized. Wow. Till date, okay? In fact, the World Bank alone gave the government of Ghana more than $100 million dollars. You remember? All those monies, till date, haven't been accounted for. But clearly, nothing was done from the side of government. Absolutely nothing from their coffers.
Is that not unfair if you say nothing was done on the side of government?
I mean, how people
we went through a whole year of COVID-19. We're still grappling with it.
Look, if I don't want to go into details of health facilities that did not even have access to PPEs. I'm only speaking of what was donated, okay, in kind to the government of the day. And so, more close to 16 billion haven't been accounted for. Clearly, it means that President Akufo-Addo, only during the period of COVID-19, just probably the government of the day ripped the state of some of these resources. And that is what, these are some of the things unfolding today. Had it not been this expose, we wouldn't have known that these vaccines were as cheap as this.
George.
People are sick. There is a pandemic. The whole world is struggling to survive. We are helping each other. Countries are reducing prices of drugs and medicines and what have you. Only for the president of the day, okay, through his finance minister and what have you, through some forms, understandable forms, balloon the prices of drugs, rip the state off it. And today we are sitting here to debate huge amounts of monies that have been added onto vaccine prices and doubling it.
But
that is a worry to the
state.
So
the Ministry of Health put out a statement where they said they had engaged government officials in Russia. They had tried every possible way to get access to the Sputnik V. They couldn't. Now, we also get indication that even though the WHO says don't deal with middlemen, with regards to Russia, when you look at how they decided to distribute the vaccines, they put it in charge of the Russian Development Initiative Fund or Investment Fund. And they also subcontracted another company to distribute it. And so that gave rise to middlemen. And so we didn't have any option.
Look, first of all, what the minority is saying is that you should have brought it forth. You should have involved us in all processes. We had alternative ways of helping you get these vaccines. Now, the AU set up a system to support countries in procuring these vaccines at a country-to-country level. There was a COVAX system. These were all alternatives available to the government of the day to use in procuring these vaccines. And so if you thought that, look, I won't go through these channels where I can procure these vaccines at cheaper rates, I would rather get a middleman shake and through some means balloon the price to $19, close to twice the price of the vaccine, procure it for the country, and nobody can speak of it, nobody can audit it, nobody can check it. And today, things are being unraveled all because of that ballooning. Then there's a problem. And what I'm saying is that, look, this is clearly, I would state, clearly this causing financial loss to the state. Because if you compare the price, okay, anybody can take his or a phone, go online, check off the price of the vaccine, check off the ex-factory price, and you even balloon it by $2. You will still not arrive at the price President Akufo-Addo procured these vaccines.
Let me bring George in.
And that is why the Ghanaian people are worried.
George, now let's look at the dealers, the middlemen that we dealt with. And your party, when you were in opposition, called out the sheikh, and you said he was a crook with regards to the Mary deal. Wow. we somehow found a way to renegotiate this deal and we went ahead with it anyway. But then if you look at even the people that are associated with him as well, Umar Farouk Zahor is one of the people who's closely associated with the sheikh, and he's said to be wanted. I mean, he's evaded Norwegian police for as long as possible, and even apparently, so Umar Farouk Zahor is literally his right-hand man, and this same man is said to be wanted by the Norwegian police. Then there's also the other man, Martin Hansen, who's also said to be a fugitive. Okay, and so these are people who are all associated with the sheikh. And per the investigative piece, it was through these people that, the sheikh got access to the vaccines to even sell to us. If we called him a crook, why do we go ahead to still work with someone that we once called a crook?
I will answer that. I don't know whether you have the fact that it was through these two individuals that Ghana was able to contact the sheikh to get the produce.
No, I'm not saying it was through them.
No, I'm establishing a point that if you're able to affirm that, indeed, these two individuals, supposedly crook individuals, the fact that they are in the network of the sheikh doesn't mean they are the only agents that, do business with and for the sheikh. You get it? So let's establish that indeed these two individuals were those who linked the government of Ghana to the sheikh.
They did not link the government of Ghana to the sheikh. What I'm saying is these are people who work with him closely.
Then becomes
did we do due diligence, especially if we have called the sheikh a crook in the past?
Good. And you I'm happy with what you did. You gave me specific names, and attributed the crook nature of those individuals that you allege that we had,
I'm not alleging. It is an investigative piece that is giving those details.
Thank you. So saying we call them names. You get it. We as a political
Did you not call the sheikh a crook? During the Mary deal?
No, I'm not going to contest that. You get, we felt there were not openness and too much transparency in the process of engaging the Mary deal and co. Okay, so that at the time, if you don't have the full facts and you make certain statements. As of now, I'm not even contesting that. I'm looking at the way you say these people now working with the guy, and I am making the point that there could be other agents with the sheikh who might have engaged the health ministry to say, look, you would get government to government and other official processes, to get it direct from the manufacturer. It's not coming. And we have somebody who can get it for you within the time space that you need it, okay? Why don't you engage with them, okay? And two, Bella, I wouldn't sit here and pretend. Once the price is, and in any case, the $10 was quoted by the international journalist, right? The $10 price, which is the 9.9 he's talking. I told you I'm a mathematics guy. $10, 9.9 is still 10. But I agree with his argument of saying every
each unit
cent,
counts,
but that was, $10, no big deal about that, right? But it was quoted by the international journalist who spoke with the finance minister. And so $10, and we got it at 19. Yeah, we know middlemen and co. But then whatever it is, we can institute investigation into international. That's the international due process. Once you buy something above the price that is accepted, okay, there ought to be investigation as to whether some people had cuts and other things which ballooned the price there. So and I'm not going to contest that. If it is established that indeed it's way above the international price, we can look at that and see.
But we have a former WHO number 2.
Good.
Who eventually became our presidential coordinator for the COVID-19 response, in charge of vaccines.
Good.
Could he not have handled all this so well that we could even get access to the vaccines?
You see,
former WHO number 2.
The government engaged the Prime Minister.
He was in charge of vaccines at the WHO.
The government of Ghana engaged the government of
Are we saying
Russia.
He does not have connections at all?
No. But you think the government's engagement with that will be minus him?
Okay, and he still could not get us a direct deal?
Those agreements, the time you need the products, okay? He said you cannot get it by that time. And I told you earlier that we had been told that those of us who took the first jab were to take it at this thing. They gave me a date for the second jab. You get it? And the date is passed. And though I've taken the second jab, you get it? The date is passed. You get it? So then authorities will begin to get worried that if you don't get it and, you know, it makes nonsense of the first jab, then it means you need to start all over again.
But why didn't we get it at the beginning?
You get?
I mean, when it was available for sale, we didn't get it. We went to get the free vaccines.
Oh, no.
Did we put ourselves in this situation, which was predicted even months ahead?
Yes, no. We see, when we got the free one, we had anticipated, we knew that there's going to be sales at certain points. And so that's how come these 10 COVID levy and all that. Nobody is paying for the free water and the free electricity. That's a fact. The Ministry of Finance has come out with a release on that. And so going forward, we don't want to pile up debts. You get it? And two, I'm surprised my brother is saying 16 billion was raised. I'm not too sure about that. Okay? But I know in the last budget that over 19.7 billion expenses and co related to COVID. Okay, and we know, you know that the World Bank gave us some $1 billion. You remember those things. Maybe I think he's factored all those things in. If he did, well, but if it's about the trust fund, what they raised, and he is saying 16, I don't know where that is coming from. I stand to be corrected if he can authenticate that. And it's revealing that he is saying create, loot, and share. You know, well, I take a leaf from him, experience from the background, you know, those who went to Supreme Court and the Supreme Court judges, you know, coined these terms, right? Okay, he coming from that stable. I understand maybe he knows what it entails.
But are you guilty as a party of this?
No, no. Until an investigation is instituted, the international journalist has come out that the price is high. And I am saying once there's an international standard and we, in our eagerness to get the produce, the products for our people. We went through the PPA process, all that, okay? And yet we went to the market when the UN says don't deal with, you know, the open market and those things. That's another matter. So that could be investigated. So let's look at the issue. He also said about Saudi government giving 0%. Is he a Saudi government? Or is a private individual doing his business? And I'm yet to see a private businessman.
WHO says don't deal with middlemen.
Is it? Good. No, that's what I said earlier.
Our leader of our task force is a WHO man. He understands the standard procedure. And so how do we then go and engage the middlemen?
Listen to me. I said earlier that we had engaged at government-to-government level, the Prime Minister of Russia, some CEOs involved in the sector. And all of them, up to today, have not been able to bring one vessel to us. And then at a point, we got to know that if we even get it, it will be at the end of June. Okay? So then they went to the open market. That one is a matter for investigation. But the individual that was engaged, is he the government's representative? That's my argument. Okay? If he's a private businessman, then private businessman people tend to maximize profit. Right?
Honorable Mintasando says that we should go ahead with a bipartisan probe into this matter. We need to probe it.
I just admitted that, you know, once there's a breach of international accepted standard, there ought to be an investigation into the matter. Once you've bought it above, way and above, whether it's legitimate, use all due processes and co, you need to explain to the committee why the nation decided to go on that trajectory. You get it? And so I don't have any problem with what Honorable Akanda is saying, that there ought to be a bipartisan investigation. It's right. So that it's going to guide us. Whatever recommendation, the findings and recommendation will be a guide to all of us going into the future. You get it? So once something, you got it at the price, and we all know once the factory price is about $10, if you don't get it directly at the government-to-government level, you are definitely going to buy it above $10.
But
right?
for $19, that's
yes. So then that's why I agree that there ought to be that investigation.
Malik, so your party is asking for a probe, a bipartisan probe. There are concerns that this will not get anywhere because we have seen what has happened in recent times, even with the appointments committee decision, minority saying we're not going to pass certain, ministerial designates, and then we saw a change in mind. And so we're asking that, can we even trust that this bipartisan probe will bring us the results that we're expecting?
You see, whatever the NDC, minority in parliament, is allowed to properly scrutinize, we would definitely get results as a country. Other than that, we wouldn't have been here discussing this whole issue if we had relied on statements from only the NPP and accepted and moved on. We wouldn't have been here discussing. And you realize clearly that my brother is fumbling. I mean, we are probably agreeing on a lot of terms because, I mean, yes, there should be a probe. It has been agreed on. Yet the figures have been inflated obnoxiously. It's been agreed on.
But can we trust your team to work diligently, which is what we're asking, which is what Ghanaians are concerned about?
If the minority in parliament were not ready to work on this diligently, they wouldn't have exposed it in the first place.
No. Or they wouldn't have, they didn't expose it.
Amplified it.
They didn't expose it. It was a Norwegian investigative journalist who exposed this.
They wouldn't have amplified it or taken an interest in it, as we are doing now.
But clearly
there's been a press conference on it.
Because
we feel that there's been an act of create, loot and share. And so the minority in parliament, I beg your pardon, the minority in parliament is willing to expose this and allow the Ghanaian people an opportunity of scrutinizing it clearly.
Okay.
And so I'm saying that the minority in parliament would definitely get to the bottom of it. But remember that the fact that you go to buy a product, okay, at a certain price, and probably you felt that there was no other alternative of purchasing a similar product at a lower price, does not mean that you have done the state any good. You remember the GPS saga, where Dr. Baumia went and procured a system that was close to 15 million Ghana cedis. We told them that this was a system that was already free and available online. People were using the system, people were using it, and it's been in existence even before he became vice president. But he bought it. We cried foul. Yes, I agree that the president cleared the matter even before it was investigated. And so, but for Akufo-Addo clearing an issue like this, and as usual, allowing some invisible fingers, dip their hands into it and what have you, we would definitely get to the bottom of it. And this is not a matter that the NDC is going to allow go. This is close to 100% profit. Close to 100% profit in procuring items of this sort. And so, definitely, something is wrong, and definitely Akufo-Addo will definitely account for matters like this.
Okay, Jordan, let me take the final bite on this and then we move on.
Exposed, I don't get it, because it's an ongoing investigation by the international journalist, and the minister has accepted that yes, we bought paid for 300,000 at that price. Inflated, I don't know who agreed on the fact that it's been inflated. It's agreed that the ex-factory price is 10, but the margins in the chain. Okay, so it could be that nobody's done, it's benefited from the hike in price. It could be the market price. Okay, but what it means is that there's a rule that says you shouldn't engage in that. And last one, my brother is talking about GPS and co. You know the mobile money interoperability? Their government was going to do it at over 4.2 billion cedis. This government has done it in around 4.4 million.
How does this justify?
How
does this justify what we are discussing now? Does it mean that you should also milk us? No, but does it mean you should milk us? And is that the reason why you think it's okay for us to buy the vaccine at $19?
This is a prudent government.
No, but every time, and both parties are fond of it. So in previous government, they did ABC and D, and we are doing this.
Value for money. This government is more forward.
Are you giving us value for money with this Sputnik V, which is what we're asking?
I'm telling you the circumstances, and the need for it. So let's get the investigations to go into the matter. Okay? When it comes to prudence, I will put my last penny on this government compared to them. Okay? And I'm giving you, he brought GPS. What is the relationship between GPS and what we are discussing? And I'm telling you, mobile money interoperability. Okay, which was led and championed by His Excellency the Vice President and successfully implemented. Today, you can transfer money from your phone into your bank account.
Frontiers Healthcare Services also has put out, a figure. This is how much they made between September and December 2020 from the testing at KIA, $16.2 million. And, well, per the deal that was agreed on between the Ghana Airports Company Limited and Frontiers, so the GACL makes $10 out of every $150 charged for every test. And so we're told that a little over 1 million Ghana cedis has been paid to Ghana. Is it Ghana cedis or dollars? I think it's dollars has been paid to Ghana as royalties for this. How did we agree on this deal? And how does it favor us? I mean, $10 per test.
Yes.
Is that not too low?
Well, that's according to the transport minister, it's paid, that's royalties to Ghana Airports Authority. I don't know whether there's tax component that the Frontiers people are going to pay. I can tell that it's not being put up. But the $10, the minister said emphatically, is royalties to the Ghana Airport Authority. So I think that's okay. The people who claim, in the 16.2 million as espoused by the transport minister, I believe operational cost will be integrated therein. Unless, of course, he's saying all those is the profit.
It says that per the contractual agreement,
Yes,
Ghana
yes.
Airport Company was supposed to receive $10 of
Yes,
royalty per
$10
each test
royalty,
done. And Frontier Health Services was to keep the rest as their service charge.
Good.
And the total cost for one was $150.
$150.
So
And
Frontiers
definitely-
keeps the rest of the money.
Yes.
There already have been
in
concerns
keeping
about
the
how
rest, I
Frontiers
don't
was
know.
even contracted in the first place.
Oh, no.
We still have not gotten answers.
Yes, I think Johnny and others have been raising those questions, so I don't know whether he's gotten answers.
We still don't
yet.
have answers to it.
Yes.
We still do not have answers
I
to
think
it.
Parliament at the vetting processes too had engaged some of the appointees to,
They all could
explain,
not give any
those
answer.
things.
They all ran away from
I'm not
it.
here to talk about that today. But what's important is
Okay.
what the statement was made by the transport minister on the floor of the House.
But
right?
Ghanaians
Which
deserve
says-
explanation
between
as to how this deal was even agreed on in the first
But
place.
granted. Now let's come to what he said. The $140 per test. What is the tax component therein? Okay, because when you say it's royalties, unless we have waived the tax component, you get it. And then the cost, the service cost, operational cost, all will be factored before you can determine the margin of profit. I heard my Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa saying it's like the profit margin is too outrageous. Right? So let's get to know what the profit really is. And then we interrogate how the Frontiers Health Services were given the contract. That's
Okay.
another matter altogether.
Okay, let's read comments. Quickly. Johnny is
Thank
here.
you very much. Well, I say that if our health minister, foreign affairs minister, attorney general and all of them knew about the
Foreign
contract and
Affairs,
the detail that
yeah.
they shared with us at the vetting table, I'm sure we could have done better. But good morning, TV3. One of the greatest shortfall of the average Ghanaian when they are in position of authority is that they see themselves as the wisest and the most knowledgeable than everybody. For instance, even if something has a color red and the rest of the citizens perceive and say our leaders still deny and call it white, and that the rest of us are blind. We cannot progress as a nation in such a phenomenon. K.I.J. Nkofridua. Good morning, TV3. I'm Hamid from Tamale. Please let your panelists help me understand this. We took AstraZeneca as our first dose. Now Sputnik V is coming as our second dose. Well, that's not exactly
that's not it,
the
yeah.
situation. If you took AstraZeneca, you're getting AstraZeneca as your second dose, and that's about it. My question is it normal to take, well, your fears, the health service has allayed your fears. Good morning, Bella. Ghanaians in the diaspora should come together for the first time in the history of Ghana to unite and condemn the irregularity of which President Akufo-Addo is leading the country. Our support too should go for the NDC party to get themselves together and rescue this nation. Regards to Comrade Malik Basintale. This is from Osman Bukison in Tamale. Good morning, TV3. You guys are doing a great job. May the good Lord bless you. Please tell the NAPCO Secretariat to pay us our April and May stipends. We are suffering. I'm Nana Yeboah Patrick from Brekum. And finally, this is from Julius Agahoa and Tahiru Aswasi. In fact, the level of corruption in the Akufo-Addo NPP government is nauseating and unfortunate. Procuring overpriced COVID-19 Sputnik vaccines is an indication that the government is not interested in preventing corruption because our president and his appointees are only interested in making millions of dollars for themselves and their cronies, middlemen at the expense of ordinary Ghanaians. Hashtag is fix the country. And finally, good morning, Johnny. With this money matter, come to think of it, the former GFA boss said that this about Sheikh, and Ghanaians didn't believe him that he is a friend of the president. Now look at what is happening there. And a happy birthday, Bella, to a member of parliament for the Bolsa South constituency, the Honorable Clementa Park, Dr. Clementa Park. It's his birthday today. It's 51 years.
I see.
It doesn't look his age. He looks so young.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to you, Dr. Clementa Park. We love you. And also to Rafiq Mahama, his special aid to Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday to him. We'll see you.
All right. Well, let's quickly wrap up.
Quick information. The National Trust Fund on the COVID-19 in the budget, 0.227. Mr. Speaker, to leverage other resources to fight the pandemic, government passed the COVID-19 National Trust Fund Act 2020, Act 1013 in April 2020, to establish the fund. As of 31st December 2020, the fund had mobilized listed 57,134,093 CDs,
Okay.
That's it.
All right,
Of which
all right.
45,218,313.23 has been utilized.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and he's talking 16 billion.
No.
So the general thing that you're talking about.
Final words on this. I really wanted you to
Let
speak
me
on the
come in on
frontiers,
that.
but I guess you'd
Yes.
want to end with this one. Because our time is up.
Frontiers.
Which one would you want to go for? This or the Frontiers Healthcare Services?
Well, to lump them up, you see, what we are saying is that this whole deal is still in process. Just 300,000 have been paid for out of about 3.4 million or so. And so what we are calling for is that the deal must, as soon as possible, be halted.
Okay.
Whatever payments are going to be made must be stopped as soon as possible. Investigations must be allowed to go in. And mind you, if you remember, the African Union went into an agreement with the Russian government to supply the African countries with over 300 million, vaccines at the rate of I stand to be corrected, at the rate of $9.47 or so. And they asked African countries to file and pass through them in procuring these things. And so one critical question we are asking is why President Akufo-Addo did not use this channel into procuring these vaccines. This is an alternative that could be used to save the people of this country. And so we are saying is
But
that
that's why we're asking that did we use our funds?
the country, Akufo-Addo,
All right.
and all those involved in this deal are going to rip the state of
right.
$20 million.
We have to go. We have to go. But yes, we have to go. Thank you so much, George. Mr. George AEC is the Director of Communications at NADMO, and Malik Basintale, he is the Savannah Regional Communications Director of the NDC. Thank you to Sheila Bones